Hey everybody, Katie Lance here, founder and CEO of Katie Lance Consulting, the Get Social Smart Academy, author of the book Get Social Smart, and I'm so excited to be here today talking at R4. Welcome for all of you who are joining us from all over the world. So excited to be back. Big thanks to the RE/MAX team for having me back today. Today we are talking about how to stay relevant in the Facebook newsfeed in 2021 and beyond. And this is such an important topic. You know, Facebook is by far really the number one social media network for so many of us. So I'm excited to really dive in and share some great tips and tools and takeaways that you can implement immediately into your business. So for those of you who are not familiar with me, again, my name is Katie Lance. I am the founder of Katie Lance Consulting and the Get Social Smart Academy. Got a few pictures up here from the last R4 in Vegas. I can't wait till I can be in person with all of you again soon. I run a social media company in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm very proud to be a proud partner with RE/MAX. I'm also the author of the book Get Social Smart, and really our passion for the past, many years has been to help agents and brokers get smarter about social media. We don't believe that social media is the silver bullet. It's not the end all and be all, but when done right, it can make a really big difference in your business. You can see a couple pictures of myself on the screen here today. Also, I'm at Katie Lance just about everywhere on social media. So as you are listening to this presentation, if you hear something that gets you fired up, take out your phone, do a screenshot, tag me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or wherever you're spending time these days. And I would love to connect with you on social media after this presentation here today. Also, like I said, I'm very excited to be a proud partner with RE/MAX. We are publishing monthly webinars and tons of videos and really great resources over in RE/MAX University at the social media portal. So I put the link on the screen here. Make sure you write down that link. Make sure you check it out. If you are looking to really take your social media strategy to the next level, if you're looking for training and content ideas and some additional training, not just with Facebook, but all things social media, definitely check that out. The link is here on your screen. Okay, so today, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about how to leverage your Facebook personal profile to stay in touch with past clients and build better relationships online. We're also going to talk about how to maximize your Facebook business page to attract the right type of clients to promote your listings. And we're going to talk about how to maximize Facebook groups to get creative to get in front of more buyers and sellers. And here's the good news. When it comes to Facebook, there are a lot of things that we can do that are not going to cost you a whole lot of money. So a lot of what we're talking about today are things that are zero cost, low cost, and will really help you take your Facebook strategy to that next level. So the first thing I always want to say when it comes to Facebook is be intentional. When we think about the agents and brokers that we work with across the RE/MAX network who are getting a lot of business from social media and especially Facebook, they're being really intentional. Without a strategy, you're just throwing something against the wall and hoping it sticks. So be intentional. And again, my goal is for you to take at least one or two takeaways from our presentation today that you can implement immediately into your business. Now, when it comes to Facebook, like I said, Facebook is still the number one social media platform with more than a few billion daily users, and we see it, so active across the RE/MAX network. Of course, there's lots of different areas of Facebook, as we know. There's your personal profile, there's your business page, there's Facebook groups, Facebook ads, lots of different pieces to Facebook. And here's the thing, when it comes to Facebook, a lot of folks will tell me, Katie, I've got my personal life over here on Facebook. I've got my business life over here. And here's the thing, real estate's a relationship business, and it's not always black or white. Who you are is your brand. Now, you're part of a great brand, obviously, with being a part of the RE/MAX brand, but you're also your own brand. And so what that means is in 2021, when it comes to Facebook, it's important not just to talk about content, and don't worry, we'll talk about content, but it's also really important to talk about showing up, to being there personally. I know oftentimes it feels tempting to say, gosh, I wish I could just have someone do all this for me. I wish I could just hit a button and have all my social media automated. But the truth of the matter is social media is social. Facebook is like the ultimate dinner party. Imagine having a dinner party with your 10 most important clients, and instead of you being there, you have your assistant there running the whole thing. We would never do that, but that's what happens when we hand off our social media completely to somebody else. So it's important we talk about content and strategy, but it's also important we talk about the fact that, again, who you are is your business. It's not always black or white. So I want to first give you a few tips for what you can do on your personal profile with Facebook, and then we'll get into groups, and then we'll get into your business page. Okay, so first and foremost, don't be a secret agent. Make it easy for clients to find you and potential clients. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be friends with everyone, but many of you may or may not realize this. When you get Googled, Facebook is usually one of the first things that comes up. And if I go to your Facebook profile and you and I aren't friends, we want to make sure that I can still contact you. Right, so we want to make sure that your title of where you work, what office you're with, the fact that you're with a Remax, what market area do you serve, and then make sure that it's really clear how to contact you, whether it's your email, your website, any other links that make it easy for people to contact you. Again, don't be a secret agent. We also want to think about optimizing your Facebook personal profile. So, again, like I said, don't be a secret agent. That's really important. And by the way, I would also say if you aren't sure what your profile looks like to the public, just go to Facebook, log out, and see what your page looks like. You might be surprised what your page looks like for someone who is not yet connected to you. You also want to think about connecting with some of your past clients and prospects. Now, again, this doesn't mean you have to be friends with everybody, but I would imagine a good 50 to 60% of the people you work with most likely are on Facebook. So imagine thinking about the last year or so. Who have you worked with in the last 6 to 12 months? Search to see if they're on Facebook. And if they are, you might consider connecting with them. And you might say something like, hey, Mary, I really loved working with you and your family this past year. I'd love to stay in touch here on Facebook. So connect with people who are active on Facebook. And one of the things that you can do on your personal profile is to be a good finder and to highlight other people. In the world of Facebook, a like is one thing, a comment is something else, but a share is like the ultimate currency in social media. So when we think about spending time on Facebook, don't just be a drive-by liker. Don't just jump in and like a bunch of things and then leave, but take a few minutes to like, comment, and engage with people. And those small things really, really do make a big difference. Now, one thing that you can certainly do is celebrate your clients by telling their story. Some of you have heard my story. I've shared this over the years at R4. Our story is that many, many years ago, during kind of the craziness of the market about 10 years or so ago, unfortunately, like a lot of Americans, we short sailed. We live in California, and unfortunately, we short sailed. So we became renters for quite some time. So when it became time to buy our home, it was a big deal, right? We felt like first time home buyers all over again. And I'll never forget this moment. This was probably 5 or 6 years ago when we got the keys to our house. I remember my boys running through the house, running through the backyard. And, we took this picture, we put it up on Facebook. And to this day, this picture has gotten more likes and more comments than just about anything I've ever shared on Facebook. And I share this with you today because, regardless of where you're at in your social media journey, one of the things that we can all do, whether it's Facebook or really any other social media platform, is to celebrate your clients, right? A lot of times we get caught up in the excitement of what's going on with the market, and we say things like, closed another one today, 3 more deals this week, which is great. But what if we flip that script a little bit and we said, I had an opportunity to work with an amazing family, and I can't wait to see what's next for them, right? So tell their story, highlight them, and that can really make a big difference. The other thing you can do on your personal profile, and again, we're going to get to your business page in a minute, is on your personal profile, you can actually create lists to connect with your sphere. Now, this is one of these like oldie but goodie tips. If you've been following me for a long time, you've probably heard me talk about this tip before, but it is one of the best things that Facebook has available, and I absolutely love it. Now, if you've never done this before, the link to do this is on your screen right here, and you're going to want to write this one down or take a picture with your phone so you don't miss it. It's facebook.com/bookmarks/lists. Facebook.com/bookmarks/lists. And when you go to this link, and by the way, go to this link on your computer, not your phone. On your computer, you're going to see any list that you may have created in the past. So maybe in the past, you've created other lists, like lists for your family or friends you went to college with, neighbors, things like that. At a minimum, what I recommend is you create 2 lists. So one being your clients. These are people you're either working with now or you work with in the last, year or 2. So again, think back to who you've worked with, search to see if they're on Facebook, connect with them, and put them into a list. Now, by the way, these lists are private. Your clients are not going to know that they're in a list. The second list I would recommend you create is your prospect list. So these are people you're friends with who might work with you in the next 12 to 18 months. These are friends like, that they're renting, but that they're thinking of buying at some point, or maybe their kids are moving away, to college and they might be thinking of downsizing. So now that you've created these two lists, this is where the magic happens. Instead of going on Facebook and looking at your noisy news feed with cat videos and what somebody had for breakfast, you can go right to your client list. And instead of looking at your 500 Facebook friends, you'll see the last 10 clients that you've worked with. And you're going to see things like, they were playing with their kids outside in the backyard, throwing the ball around, or they had a great glass of wine last night for dinner. And what do? You take a few minutes to like, comment, and interact. Why is this important? Well, like I said earlier, real estate's a relationship business, and relationships are built with small, tiny interactions over the course of time. Every like, every comment, every share adds up. So, in your personal profile, we're not going to talk all about business, right? We're going to get to that when we talk about your business page. But one of the ways to use your personal profile to be intentional and to really connect with people is to create lists like this. And again, on a daily basis or even a weekly basis, set aside some time to connect with people. Now, those of you who created lists in the past, I'm going to encourage you to go back and edit and update your list, because I'm sure that there are some of you who are listening to this going, I created this list a few years ago, Katie. Awesome. Well, your challenge is to go in and update those lists. Okay, so we've got your personal profile, right? We're getting intentional. We're highlighting other people. Let's talk a little bit about Facebook groups, and then we'll talk about pages. So when it comes to groups, about a year or so ago during the Super Bowl, Facebook ran an ad during the Super Bowl. And we all know it's not cheap to run an ad during the Super Bowl. It's about a $6 million ad, all about Facebook groups, which I thought was really interesting. And one of the things they talked about when it comes to Facebook groups is how much of an opportunity it really is for communities to come together. And we saw that especially this past year with everything going on in the world, the pandemic. Facebook groups really grew like leaps and bounds. And I think that there's a huge opportunity for agents and brokers to really take advantage of Facebook groups. So there's a few different things I want to talk about when we talk about Facebook groups. I think one of the big opportunities with Facebook groups isn't necessarily lead generation tomorrow, right? It's not like you're going to start a Facebook group and all of a sudden the leads are just going to start flowing in. It's really a marathon and not a sprint. But the benefit to having a group is, in a group, you're not doing all the talking. It's not just you, right? Some of the groups that we've seen that are really successful, especially in the Remax network, are groups that have a variety of different voices, whether it's a community group or a neighborhood group, and those type of groups can really build community and trust. So, what type of groups are really effective? Again, neighborhood groups, community groups are really effective. The more focused you can get on your group, the better. We've also seen a lot of Remax folks who are creating private VIP groups for their clients, which actually I think is a really interesting idea. If you've been in this business a long time, and I know there's some of you who've been in real estate 20, 30, maybe even 40 years, you have got a lot of past clients. Well, imagine putting them into a private Facebook group where you could really connect them with each other, right? And really build and cultivate that community, love on your community. And it's a great way to stay in touch with people at scale. I know there's a lot of brokers listening as well. A lot of you probably have groups for your office, which is great. There's lots of groups across the Remax network as well. So if you run a Facebook group, there's 3 things I want to recommend for making the most out of your group. Number 1, this is a simple thing, but it's really important. Welcome new members on a regular basis. We have a private Facebook group for our Get Social Smart Academy, and every Friday, it's on my calendar, every Friday, I welcome new members into the group. And Facebook makes it really easy. If you're the admin of a group, it'll give you a little notification that says, you have 5 new members this week to your group, or you have 10 new members or 20 new members. And you can hit a button and it'll populate a post with all of those new members. And you can write a really nice message saying something like, hey, welcome to our group. Let us know a little bit about you. How can we serve you, right? And it's a great way to really bring someone into your community. The second thing you can do is you can schedule content. Now, I don't recommend set it and forget it. I don't think you should schedule everything. But from time to time, you might schedule content. Maybe it's a feature Friday where every Friday you want to feature a local business in your local community. Or if you're a broker, maybe you're featuring an agent once a week or a listing. So you can schedule some content in your group. And then you can also link your group from your business page. So again, we're going to talk about your business page in a minute. That's where you're going to talk about listings and anything business related. That's where you're going to continue to build your brand. But you can also connect your group to your business page. So I know some folks have a couple different groups because you might farm a couple different areas or work in a couple different areas, and you can link those to your business page. There's a few other great free tools. I promised in the beginning I was going to give you lots of free tools and free ideas. So these are some of my favorite free things that don't cost you any money when it comes to Facebook groups. By the way, you can see a screenshot there for my own Facebook group. I do something called Coffee with Katie each and every Monday. It's a live Facebook Live exclusively for our Facebook group. So not only can you go live on your personal profile, on your business page, but you can go live within a group as well. And we're going to talk more about Facebook Live here throughout this presentation. So as I said earlier, you can schedule content within Facebook groups, which is great. You can go live right within your Facebook group. Facebook groups have insights. So just like business pages have insights and some really interesting data, same thing with Facebook groups. If you run a Facebook group, you can see who are the people who are most active. When is the best time of day to post? You can also format your posts in groups, which means you can italicize things, you can make bullet points, and you can really format your posts really in an easy to read format. Link every post in a Facebook group, and actually, to be honest, anywhere on Facebook has its own unique link. So what do I mean by that? Well, when you post something to Facebook, there's a little time and date stamp, right? Like if you're looking at your screen right here, there's a little screenshot of me doing a coffee with Katie, a little Facebook Live. And this was posted on June 5th. You can see on there June 5th. Well, if I'm on Facebook and I click on June 5th, it's going to open in a separate window. And it's going to give me this really long URL. So why is that important? Well, if you are like me, and if you're like a lot of folks in the Remax network, you probably have an email database, and you might send an email newsletter out to your clients or prospects once a week or once a month. And imagine linking to a post that you did. You might say, hey, are you part of our Facebook group about this particular community? Here's one of our most recent posts, or here's a link to our recent Facebook Live, or don't miss my upcoming Facebook Live. Here's a link for that. So it's nice to be able to drive people to Facebook from outside of Facebook, whether it's to your email list or maybe you're active on other platforms like LinkedIn or other social media platforms. The last thing that's really great about Facebook groups is announcements. And within a Facebook group, you can actually mark any post as an announcement, which is really handy. You might have a post with some rules for your group. And as I always like to say, when you run a Facebook group, it's like your house, your rules, your party, your rules. So you can have some parameters for what's allowed in the group, and you can mark those as announcements. So, like I said, relationships are built with these small, tiny interactions over the course of time. Every like, every comment, every share adds up. And this is why I think it's really important when we think about Facebook. Like I said, we're going to get into content and we're going to get there in just a second. But the other big part of the Facebook conversation is building relationships. And this is what happens on your personal profile. And this is what happens in Facebook groups. It's building relationships. It's connecting with people. It's recognizing people. It's, again, not being a drive-by liker, but taking the time to be really intentional because, again, real estate's a relationship business. And at the end of the day, if you've been in real estate a long time, and I know there's some folks who are watching this who've been in the Remax network a long time, it's hard to keep in touch with people, right? There's nothing worse than going to, say, a grocery store and running into an old client and they say something like, oh, are you still in real estate? We just bought a house. And you think to yourself, oh my gosh, are you not getting my holiday cards and my calendars and my magnets and, everything else that we're sending? It's hard to keep in touch with people. So by leveraging and being really intentional and creating a system around your personal profile and Facebook groups can really make a big difference in the long haul. Okay, let's talk about Facebook business pages. Now, for a lot of folks, I'm not going to point fingers, but for a lot of folks, their Facebook business page looks a little bit like a Facebook graveyard. And it's by no fault of the agent. It's just as an agent, you're busy, right? And when you're managing multiple transactions, multiple clients, the last thing you're thinking about is what should I post to my Facebook business page? Now, the thing is with a Facebook business page, we know that when you post something to your business page, a very small percentage of the people who actually like your page are actually going to see your content. Why is this? Well, Facebook knows that when you and I go on Facebook, we want to see our friends and our family. And if we happen to see an ad or something business related here and there, we're okay with that. But if all we started to see was ads, we would all leave. So how do we stand out on our Facebook business page? One of the biggest ways to stand out is to have a content strategy. Now, I'm sure some of you have seen this over the years, but if you haven't yet, this is what's called a content grid. And this is actually a free download. If you've never downloaded this before, go to katielance.com/content grid. Feel free to write that down, or if you're on your phone, you can pull it up. It'll ask for your name and email, and we'll send this to you. This is a great PDF. In fact, we actually just recently updated this right before R4. So you're getting the new shiny version of it as well. What you're looking at here is a spreadsheet with about 30 content ideas. Because what we find is that when it comes to social media, I would say most agents, they know they should be there, right? They know they should be posting consistently. But you get busy, and at the end of the day, you're not always thinking about what should I post to Facebook. So the way a lot of agents and brokers use this, especially in the Remax network, is they will print this out, and when they're sitting down once or twice a week to post to Facebook or to schedule some content or even to sit down and create some content, they've got ideas right in front of them. So we've got ideas like local real estate, right? Favorite feature of a new listing or a picture of your clients at the closing table. National real estate. It might be a link to an article that you saw, from Inman News or the Remax blog. Also, I would recommend making sure that you're following the Remax channels on Facebook. There's so much great content you could share just from the Remax network alone. Local and community, right? So maybe this is a picture of your favorite restaurant or boutique. One of the things I think is really powerful, especially right now with everything going on in the world, what a great opportunity to shine the light on businesses in your local community. This is especially important for those of you who are new. I know that there's some people who are listening to this who just got into real estate. You are newly licensed and you might not feel the most confident about real estate right now. One of the best things that you can do is really showcase and highlight your favorite local businesses, your favorite local pizza shop, your favorite local boutique. 9 times out of 10, when you shine the light on someone else in your local community, first of all, they love that. They are so appreciative of that. And that's a great way to build your community and to build your expertise in your local neighborhood. And then, of course, the last two categories here are personal interest, right? We can't just be all about business. So, things that are important to you doesn't mean you have to share every moment of your life, but what are you passionate about? Sports, family, pets, whatever it might be, that's a great opportunity to incorporate that into your Facebook strategy. And then, lastly, home and design. If this is something you're passionate about, maybe we share before and after photos from staging or tips for holiday home decorating. If that's something you're passionate about, that's a great thing to incorporate. Now, I will say when you download the content grid, you're also going to get a blank content grid. So I would encourage you to create your own. If you've never done this before, it's a great thing to really take your strategy to that next level, especially in 2021 and beyond. So let's talk about some of the nuts and bolts to your business page that are really going to help you stand out. There's a few things. I encourage you to update and optimize your Facebook business page for success. And I would encourage you, as I said in the beginning, go to Remax University because we have so many great resources and ideas on how to do this. But there's also some really great things that you can do. Number one, have an updated cover photo and pinned post. So that cover photo is that big photo across the top on your Facebook business page. I always say it's prime real estate. No pun intended, but it's prime real estate. And Remax has so many great cover photos that you can update. I like to update ours on about a quarterly basis, but you can update yours at least a few times a year. A pinned post, what the heck is that? Well, when you're on your Facebook business page and you're posting, a post on Facebook kind of disappears after a few hours, right? But on your page, you can actually go to any post and click a little button that says pin it. So when you're posting a picture or video or post, right next to that is a little button that says pin it. You can pin it, and it basically just pins it to the top of your Facebook page. So you might pin a new post once a week or once a month if you have a new listing or an open house or something you really want to call attention to. The other thing that's really important with Facebook right now, here's the good news, you guys. It's about quality, not quantity. Quality, not quantity, which means you don't need to post 12 times a day. Okay. It used to be back in the day, we would say, post every few hours. It's really about quality versus quantity. So pick a couple days. Consistency is more important than ever before. The third thing on your screen here is I would encourage you to time block and schedule and set aside some time weekly to schedule some of your content. So again, we don't want to set it and forget it, but think ahead. A lot of folks will set aside 20 or 30 minutes, maybe on a Thursday or Friday, where they can think ahead. right? And you might think, okay, I've got a new listing coming up. I've got a video I'm going to post next week. You start to think ahead, and that makes a big difference. The other thing that's really important on your Facebook business page is the type of content that's getting the most engagement right now, the most likes, comments, and interaction is a recorded video and Facebook Live. So recorded video is either video you take with your phone, or you work with a videographer, or Facebook Live, which is live and in the moment, right? And both of those are really powerful. The reason why those are really powerful is because both videos and Facebook Lives spark a conversation. In fact, Mark Zuckerberg talked about this about a year ago. He said, when it comes to the Facebook news feed, the content you see in your feed is generally content that has sparked a conversation. And this is why when you're on Facebook, if you might have just been on Facebook recently, maybe you're on Facebook right now as I'm giving this presentation. When you're on Facebook, you probably saw a post from this morning, but maybe you also saw a post from yesterday or 2 days ago or 3 days ago. So why are you still seeing those? It's because there's a conversation happening in the comments. So how do you spark a conversation on your page? Video and Facebook Live are huge. There's some additional free tools that you can see here on your screen. Again, you can schedule content, as we mentioned. Every post on your business page has a link, right? So you can drive traffic to your page from outside of Facebook. You can invite people to like your page. A lot of you have seen that where there's a little button you can invite people to like your page. The other thing you can do, by the way, is again, if you have an email newsletter, send an email out to your database and say, hey, are we connected yet on Facebook? I would love for you to like my business page, and here's why. Every Monday I'm going to post a market update. Every Tuesday is Tip Tuesday, and every Wednesday I'm going to share a new listing, right? So that's a great way to build your page as well. Again, you can pin post, as I mentioned, and again, Facebook Live is a great opportunity to grow your page. So as I said earlier, quality versus quantity, right? It's actually better to post less, but post more quality pieces of content. Original content is key. Consistent original content, it builds trust. And there's 3 types of content ideas that tend to get a higher level of engagement on Facebook. We just mentioned this a second ago, but I'll say it again in case you didn't write it down. Recorded video, Facebook Live, and then the third are graphics and photos. It's that saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And so those 3 things, when we think about that, are really the type of content that generate a higher level of engagement, a higher level of interaction, and generally will help to attract business to your business page. So let's kind of dive into video a little bit, because I know when it comes to video, we've all heard, right? And there's some great presentations planned for R4 all about video content. And the reality is with Facebook is people are spending 5 times more time with video content than any other type of content on Facebook. But can we get real for just a minute? I know that for a lot of you, when it comes to video, that we don't always like how we look. We don't like how we sound. We're not sure how to do it. So then we don't do it. And I had a good friend of mine a few years ago very lovingly tell me, she was like, Katie, that's how you look. And that's how you sound. So you need to get over it. So I will lovingly tell you the same thing, because especially nowadays, video content is one of the most important ways to build that engagement and build your business, especially on Facebook. And the truth is, you can't hide who you are on video, right? You are who you are. And I think a lot of times when it comes to video content, again, like I said, we don't always like how we look. We don't always like how we sound, or we think, gosh, there's already so much content that's out there. And the reality is I could go on to, Google or Facebook, and I could search for things like how to get my home ready for the market. And I would probably see lots of videos and tips and things like that. But nobody's going to say it the way you're going to say it. Nobody's going to have your experience and your expertise and your personality like you are. And so what happens with video, especially on Facebook, is it tells the story of what does it feel like to work with you, right? What does it feel like to work with you? And oftentimes I will go on an agent or broker's Facebook page, and it doesn't matter if they are here in the US or they're in Europe or they're, in other parts of the world. A lot of times I see the exact same thing. I see listings, I see open houses or virtual open houses. I see maybe a link to an article they read. But a lot of times what's missing is, what do you sound like? What do you stand for? And what are you all about? And that's really the power of video. Now, one big tip I would give you when it comes to video content is to lean into who you are and who you're not. Here's the reality. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. Part of what makes you stand out is not just sharing information for the sake of information when it comes to video content, but also sharing your opinion, sharing your personality, sharing stories. And this is why, especially when it comes to Facebook content, it's important not just to share listings. I'm sure you're sharing listings, which is great, But what we find is that if you can share things that are informative, things that are educational, if you think about all the questions you get asked all the time, like who pays for what, or is now a really good time to buy or sell? All these questions we get asked all the time. This is great evergreen or timeless content, meaning it's relevant today, but it's also relevant next month, 3 months from now, maybe even down the line. And again, this idea of, again, leaning into who you are and who you're not really can make a big difference. The other thing that's really important when it comes to video is that most of us are watching video with the sound off, right? A lot of us, we're out and about, we're not watching video with the sound on. So I really recommend that you put closed captioning on your videos. And one of the ways we do that is through a tool called rev.com. If you're taking notes, that link is on your screen right here. It's a great tool. It costs about $1 a minute. And the way it works is you take your video, you upload it to rev.com, and you pay about $1 a minute for a subtitle file. So if I have a 3-minute video, I take that video, I upload it to rev.com, and in about an hour or two, they send me back a subtitle file, costs about $3. And then what I could do is go to Facebook, upload my video, and there's a little button where I can upload my caption. So then I can upload my file from Rev, and then through the magic of Facebook, when people are watching my video, the captions will scroll across the bottom of the screen, which is great. Rev.com also does transcriptions. I know there's a lot of you who speak multiple languages and you perhaps do business in different languages. You can also get all of your content transcribed through Rev.com as well, which is great. It's all human transcribed, which is awesome. So I know we've talked a lot about video. Not surprising, video, like I said, on Facebook is hugely important. And 80% of us would rather watch live video from a brand than read a blog. I hate to say it, but our attention span is waning these days, right? And so one of the ways to really jumpstart your engagement, your strategy in 2021 is to really think about Facebook Live. Now, I know, again, when it comes to video, we get nervous enough, let alone being live on Facebook. But if you've never gone live on Facebook, I would encourage you to really try it out. The good news is you don't need a whole lot of fancy equipment. You don't even need a separate app. You can go live right from your personal profile. You can go live from your business page. If you have a Facebook group, as we talked about earlier, you can go live in a Facebook group. And when you're live, you are actually literally live broadcasting within Facebook. So when people are online, they can click, they can watch you live. And there's something to be said about being live and in the moment. And when you're done with that broadcast still lives on Facebook in your profile or on your page as a recording. And so we've seen a lot of folks, especially during this last year, who are really utilizing Facebook Lives for things like virtual open houses, where they can give people a live, sneak peek, kind of behind the scenes into a home. And it's also, again, a great way to build that engagement over on Facebook. So I want to give you a few tips for how to maximize Facebook Live. This is going to be really important whether you are a pro with Facebook Live or whether you are brand new to this. So if you're going to do a Facebook Live or any kind of video, you want to try to have a quiet space, which I realize might be a little challenging if you're still quarantining like many folks across the world are, but try to be in a quiet space. You might go in your backyard, or if you're going for a walk, or if you're at a property, obviously that's usually a little quiet. In terms of a mic, again, you don't need a whole lot of fancy equipment. You might use earbuds like I have right here. The Apple ones are great. In terms of lighting, if you're at home, you want to try to face a window. Windows always offer natural light, or have a light right in front of you. And with any video content you create, not only can you put them on Facebook, which is what we're primarily talking about here today, but if you guys have been following me for any period of time, you know I'm a huge believer in repurposing content. So if you also have a YouTube channel, there's no reason why you can't take that video and also put it on YouTube. If you're active on Instagram, you might put that video on Instagram TV. If you are doing a Facebook Live, you can download that Facebook Live. Now you have that file and you can repurpose that in a number of different ways. So I want to share a few ideas for what you could do with a video or Facebook Live, because I'm sure some of you are wondering, okay, well, what the heck could I talk about on a Facebook Live or video? So 6 ideas that we're seeing that are working really, really well right now. So number 1, virtual open houses. Again, depending on where you're at in the world and what's allowed in your local area, virtual open houses are still, and I don't think they're necessarily going away anytime soon. So we're seeing a lot of agents and brokers who are doing these from a property. But guess what? You can also do these from your home office. You can share, screen share photos of the home. You can get really creative with how you're doing a virtual open house. And we've seen a lot of that work really, really well. The second idea is sharing from the heart. if you're not sure what to say, sharing your own journey. If you're new to real estate, why did you get into real estate? Just kind of sharing how you're getting through this crazy time right now, and just being honest. There's something to be said about being a little vulnerable and sharing from the heart about what you do, who you are personally, and also what you're passionate about professionally. Number three, how you can help serve your clients remotely. This is, again, especially important if you're working in a market area where you're not face to face with as many people right now. There's still a lot of questions right now about safety and protocols and how we're keeping our clients safe. And I would imagine a year ago, you probably put out some really great content about that. And so it's a great opportunity. If you haven't talked about that recently, that's a great opportunity for a video or a Facebook Live. Number 4 or 5, this addresses future buyers or sellers, because there's a lot of folks right now who are thinking about the market, but maybe they're just a little bit nervous. So you might do some videos or create some content around things like, hey, if you're thinking or buying or selling later this year or next year, here are some things I'd recommend you start thinking about now. Here are some things that you can start doing to get ready now, right? And then number 6, as I mentioned earlier, this idea of highlighting other businesses. Whether you are new to real estate or whether you've been in real estate a long time, we are seeing, so many great opportunities to be able to highlight local businesses. We know during this time right now that a lot of local businesses, especially the small kind of mom and pop businesses that we all know and love, have really, really struggled. So imagine reaching out to a local business and saying, hi, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm with the Remax. I'm a local agent here. And, once a week or once a month, we are highlighting local businesses. Would it be okay if I highlighted you on our Facebook page? And again, 9 times out of 10, they're going to love that. They're going to say yes. So whether that's a video, whether that's a Facebook Live, the good news is you can use tools like Zoom, and you could do a virtual interview or a virtual Facebook Live where you're not necessarily face to face. And when you highlight a local business, whether it's a video or a Facebook Live, so often what that local business is going to do is they're going to share that content with their community, with their audience. And now you've built a really great relationship with that local business. So why is all of this so important? I've talked a lot about content creation in this talk, and this is primarily a talk about Facebook. So you might be wondering why this is so important. Well, it's so important because the leads you get from great content are so much better. I'm often asked, how do I generate leads on Facebook? How do I get leads on Facebook? And the answer may not be the one that you necessarily want to hear right out of the gate. And the answer is that original content that you put out, that video, that Facebook Live, that content that's in your voice, that's the difference between attracting business versus chasing leads. Attracting business versus chasing leads. Because let me tell you what happens. Let's say you're listening to this going, okay, I see what you're saying. I'm going to, maybe you're thinking about creating a Facebook group, or maybe you're thinking about putting out a weekly video series or a weekly Facebook Live series. Well, over the course of time, what starts to happen is people will start to say things like this. They'll start to say things like, I see you everywhere. I feel like I know you. I feel like you're in my head. And those kind of people, when they're ready to work with you, they're ready to work with you. They're not shopping around calling 12 different realtors. They feel like they know you. And now it's up to you to decide if you want to work with them. So what's the best time of day to post to Facebook, especially your business page? Okay, I'm going to share something. This is a little bit of a secret tip, but this has made a huge difference in our business. And this is a question I get asked all the time. If you've never done this before, you want to go to your Facebook business page on your computer, not your phone, but on your computer. Click on the button that says Insights, and then click on the button that says Posts. Okay, so 3 steps: business page, Insights, Posts. You're going to see a graph that looks like this. Now, this is from my own page, but you're going to see a graph from your own page. And what you're going to see is basically you're going to see the people who like your page and when are they most active on Facebook. People who like your page and when are they most active on Facebook? Is it Monday morning at 8 a.m.? Is it Tuesday night at 8 p.m.? Is it Saturday afternoon? And this is going to give you a lot of great insight on when to post, when to upload video, when to schedule content. It can definitely make a big difference in just getting your content seen by more people, especially on your Facebook business page. All right, I'm always asked what are some of my favorite apps and tools, and I've got quite a few, but I wanted to just share some of my very favorite here on the screen here. And I'm not affiliated with any of these. I just think they're great, and I think they are awesome. And by the way, in addition to this list, I know there's some awesome tools that Remax offers as well. So don't forget about some of those tools as well, like Photofy and so many of the other great tools that Remax has available. So WordSwag and Canva, I absolutely love for graphics. As I said earlier, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so I love with Canva, I can create templates. I can resize images really easily. WordSwag is fantastic for inspirational quotes. If you love motivational quotes like I do, you'll love WordSwag. They've got a great library and you can create content quickly and easily right from your phone. For Facebook specifically, you want to make sure that you have Facebook Pages Manager on your phone. Now, for some of you, it's called Facebook Pages Manager. Facebook's starting to change it, and it's being called Facebook Business Suite. So when you look in the App Store, it might say Facebook Business Suite. That's the same thing as Facebook Pages Manager. This is actually a separate app on your phone, and this is really helpful if you have a Facebook business page. A lot of times people will ask me, they'll say, gosh, I'm having trouble getting to my business page on my phone. If you've ever had that problem, or you want to be able to manage your page a little bit better just on your phone, make sure you download Facebook Pages Manager. Again, it might be called Facebook Business Suite, depending on what type of phone you might have. But that'll allow you to schedule content and also do a number of things just for your page. Facebook Messenger. So Facebook Messenger, that's also another app as well. That's the app where you can private message people one-to-one. I really think that the future of Facebook is private. And what do I mean by that is I think that there's a lot of opportunity in that one-to-one. So, if you go into Facebook today and you see it's, your client's birthday, you could be one of the 50 people that writes on their wall or their page, happy birthday, HBD, smiley face, emoji. Or you could be like one of the only people that reaches out to them personally. Of course, you could call them, you could text them, you could send them a message through Facebook Messenger. There's also a feature within Facebook Messenger to leave audio notes, audio messages, which is awesome. So maybe you don't want to be on camera, but you want to just leave someone a little audio message. That's a great opportunity. As far as video editing, I absolutely love Video Shop. This is a great app, which is great for any platform, really easy to edit video right on your phone. And then I know we talked a lot about Facebook Live today. You can go live on Facebook from your phone, from your computer. If you want to invite someone into a broadcast or you want to schedule a broadcast, if you're a little bit more advanced with Facebook Live, I love using Zoom or B.Live. These are two great tools that you can use when it comes to Facebook. So quick recap, if you joined us a little bit late, 5 big things I want you to take away from here today. Number 1, don't be a secret agent. Make it easy for clients and prospects to find you. Number 2, create client and prospect lists to stay organized and intentional. Number 3, maximize Facebook groups to build community and trust. Number 4, focus on quality of content versus quantity. And number 5, create recorded video and Facebook Live content to showcase your expertise. So at the end of the day, people do business with people they know, like, and trust and relate to, right? That's the business reason behind doing everything we're talking about here today. And as we wrap up here today, keep this in mind. Social media is a marathon, not a sprint. I said this in the very beginning. What we are talking about today is not going to get you 12 new leads tomorrow. But just keep this in mind. It's these small little interactions over the course of time. I often feel like we're leaving these little digital breadcrumbs that tell the story of who we are. So as we get to the end, I want to leave you with just a few additional resources. I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, gosh, I really would love to get a handle on all my social media, not just Facebook. So I've got a couple of resources. I want to make sure you write down this link. This is the REMAX University social media portal. As I mentioned, we're a proud partner with REMAX, and we offer webinars each and every month. We've got tons of video training and lots of really great social media resources at the link on your screen. Also, feel free to reach out to me as well. I wrote a book all about this. It's up on Amazon. You can check that out. It's called Get Social Smart. Feel free to reach out to me if you have questions as well. I answer all my own email. You can reach out to me, Katie@katielance.com, or feel free to find me at katielance.com. And of course, connect with me on social. I would love to connect with you on social. Send me a message, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're spending time these days. Let me know that you tuned in, and I would love to connect with you. very last thing I'm going to say, and then we're going to wrap it up. Number one, thank you again to REMAX. It's such an honor to be here for R4. And as you go into your other presentations, as you're listening to other speakers here today, the very last thing that I want to say, and I don't have a slide for this, but I want to share this last thing, is keep this in mind when it comes to social media. And I'm not sure who needs to hear this, but there's somebody out here who needed to hear this today. Done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. So write that one down, put a sticky in front of you, in front of your bulletin board or wherever you're at. Done is better than perfect. Think about that as you take your social media strategy to the next level in 2021. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
There we go. Really cool stuff. I know Kim loves Katie Lance. She has a lot of great information. REMAX.
Hey everybody, Katie Lance here, founder and CEO of Katie Lance Consulting, the Get Social Smart Academy, author of the book Get Social Smart, and I'm so excited to be here today.
So I'll get this posted to the Facebook group, and yeah, thanks for showing up, guys.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye.